Anthony Delli Fraine, assistant general manager and assistant coach of the Montreal Rangers.
Well, hello, Anthony. So, what makes the Montreal Rangers different from other Junior AAA programs?
I think the Montreal Rangers differentiate from other teams in our league is really our coaching staff, being guys that played high level competitive hockey, understanding where players' development is at now. I think we have a good relationship with our players. I think our level of communication is really good, and I think we were able to bring out the best out of our players. I think the last few years we've had super competitive teams. And I think it's a testament a little bit to us understanding our players and not being like so hard headed and gun ho that like it's one way, and there's just the only way to go. You got to learn how to understand different players' characters. Some guys how to push their buttons. Some of them it's more through video conversations. Other than you could go a little bit old school and be a little bit raw with them, and you can get the best out of them. And it's just understanding that makes having a better blend of proper roster and execution.
What separates it from the better players on your team to like the lower role players? What's a key attribute that they have?
I think trying to establish roles for everybody and making them feel part of the team, I think that's huge. I've been in the game for a long time where top guys would get all the top minutes and everything, and the other guys would just chew up breaks for those top guys. And it's really trying to build a roster that everybody ends up having a role. I think it's hard for some guys sometimes to understand that, like, maybe coming up in the ranks and bantam, midget, maybe you're a go-to guy, power play guy, this and that. You get into a junior range, and it's like, well, maybe I got to be a grinder more, change my style a little bit to fit. There's only one top six, right? There's only certain spots for power play, but as coaches and as managers, we evaluate power play and PK the same thing. And I think having guys being able to buy into different roles and learning to develop that, what you used to do before, and not taking away that you cannot score. But if you start adding some different tools into your toolbox, makes you a more complete hockey player afterwards. And that's what we try to like translate to guys a lot in terms of making them develop. Like, we're also not the type of coaching staff either that scrutinizes on age. If you could play, you will play, whether you're 17, whether you're 20. The last few years, what was it? Last year, we had a 16-year-old on our team, and he didn't get scratched once. And we had no expectations for him. He came in and he got accoladed, got comfortable, and I could safely say that as a 16-year-old, he looked like he was already 18 years old playing in the league and had experience. So
Players, especially recently, you send a lot of guys U Sports, you send a couple of guys European Pro.
yeah,
What the process of you sending players, especially with Quebec Major Juniors, how does that process work through your program? Do coaches text you? Do you reach out to coaches selling players?
I think what helps a lot with the Montreal Rangers is that our staff is bilingual. So we're able to, I've always said it that your best salesperson is your coach. You could have advisors, you could have consultants, you could have whatever you want, but coach on coach conversations, I think, are the most crucial ones, because I think we're such a fraternity as coaches that we like to keep honesty in every single conversations that we have. I'll be honest, there's some guys that were super talented that sometimes they didn't have good things to say because, like, he's gonna walk into your room and might not help out with the chemistry and getting the guys rolling the right way. And then there was other guys who had maybe lesser talent that people would have wanted, and they come into a team and it's like, man, after 2 3 years, he's gonna be your captain. Like, he's gonna lead your guys. So for us in our recruitment, I think it was one, winning, having a program that had some respect in terms of being up in the standings in our league, um, being able to execute proper trades, free agents, drafting properly, and then really putting a plan in action with our guys as of 18 years old. I'm like, hey, what do you want to do with hockey after junior hockey? You know what I mean? Like, we can't start thinking about this when you're 20 years old. Let's start at 18. Do you want to go to school? Okay, perfect. You have your SATs. You have your grades up. Are you in school? Those are all little things that we have to kind of micromanage with our players, and making sure that they're able to understand that, like, if you want to go play at the next level, it doesn't start that year. You know what I mean? It's not, let me blow up and as a 20-year-old and be like, oh, I'm going to have all D1 offers. No, this comes with time. It comes with credibility as well, too. So over the years, we've been able to build some good relationships with the U Sports, NCAA D3s, with European teams as well. And luckily for us, it's all been good news. No one's ever had any bad things to say. We've sent over young men over there and have been contributors, and teams are happy with that. And we're getting calls back now and saying, "Hey, you have any more guys?" Because like clearly they're being they're well rounded and ready for the next level under your tutelage. And for us, it's been that 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 kind of like a consolation prize from winning a championship. You know that I'm able to send some guys over, and they're there being leaders that they were for us, and having a role with their new teams and their new careers, and having success for us. It's such a satisfactory thing for us.
How do you help like a 16-year-old, 17-year-old that lacks the confidence to get back into it and not give up on his craft?
uh, Listen, at 16, 17 years old, even at 18, 19, and 20, a bad game's going to happen. We're not robots, right? So these things, how me and Mike Stinzani develop our players and how we evaluate it's over a bit of a database. You know, like if you have a bad weekend, let's have like, I'm going to notice it. Come into the office and sit down. What's up? You know what I mean? And the more we started doing that, we started realizing that like sometimes it has nothing to do with the hockey. Some of them was an escape from other stuff, from their responsibilities. Some of them work. Some of them are in university. Some of them in college. That school is taking up a lot of their time. It's crazy to sound, but it's true. But girlfriends, guy breaks up with his girlfriend. He's heartbroken. You know what I mean? And like that plays into a factor. That weighs in. So you get to know and understand your players. Are we the ones that are right away after one bad game to right away like how to address it? No. You got to figure it out yourself too, and figure out a way to bounce back. But if the bounce back is not coming from within, that's when we're able to notice this and step in to help out with the what's going on, what we've been noticing, giving back feed pointers here and there. Um, so for us, that's really what it comes down to. It's being patient on the development. You're not going to get 17-year-old producing like a 20-year-old who's played 3 years in the Q or in the O or in the dub and come down and dominate the league. It's just that's not realistic. That's not how hockey works. On the same page.
Yeah, I agree. And obviously, with a lot of Montrealers that left to go play juniors elsewhere, like in the
Mhm.
BC, the NOL, NCDC, they always came back to you at their 19, 20 years. What was your pitch to them? How did you convince them to come back to the Hockey Quebec system after leaving, trying to find a career elsewhere?
Listen, everybody's allowed to dictate their own path of development. Now, am I always happy that a 17-year-old decided to say, like, you're not good enough or we're going to go somewhere else? No, for sure not. Because, we take it personally. We devote a lot of our time into this and for the right reasons. Like, yes, we want to win, but we also want to build a culture and an organization that has guys that are here for a while. I think it helps a lot with the team culture in terms of carrying over one roster to another. But I think the major thing was that, like, look, you went around, you tried here, you tried there, you got the empty promises. Some guys were probably good salesmen and offered you X amount of things, and it didn't pan out. Coming back home, sleeping in your own bed, going back to school over here, is not a negative thing. It's a positive thing too as well. You get to maintain your progression as a young individual in your educational career and get to play hockey as well too in a comfort zone, in a comfort area that you're familiar with. Especially in our league, we don't travel that much, so it's not that stressful versus other junior A leagues that, like, 5 6 hour bus rides are the norm. Us, our furthest is like 2.5 hours, 3 hours. You know what I mean? So like you're able to dedicate finishing your school on time, falling into university afterwards, in a program that you want, and not going in as a mature student and trying to, like, play catch up with your school afterwards. So these are little things that, like, I think when they get a little bit older, they start realizing that, like, it's important. But you know what? There's nothing wrong. I did it also. In terms of growing up as an individual, mommy and daddy are not, picking up after you. You got to fend for yourself, but it doesn't always necessarily work. And you could also get caught up in that junior lifestyle and, like, making sure that you're still disciplined in your education and in your nutrition and all of that stuff. Maybe sometimes maybe at home is a little bit easier for.
if you had to choose when it's underrated skills in hockey, obviously everybody wants the best shot, the best skating. But what's really a skill that goes under the radar that like you appreciate in a player?
Honestly, you could teach a guy how to skate, you could teach a guy to shoot, you could teach a guy how to hit, you could teach them all these little intangibles. But I think hockey IQ and sorry for my language, but the dog in him, like having that intensity and that hunger, those are the things you look at number one. The rest I could teach you. I could
Yeah,
teach you how to play on a power play. I could teach you how to play on the neutral zone. I could teach you how to play defense. But if you're someone that's going to be first on pucks, if you're going to win your 50-50 battles, um, I think hockey development now has changed a lot into we're doing a lot of skill and we're taking away from the hockey IQ. At some point, you don't have that time and space to go through, cones and, like sticks and try to hit targets. Like, you don't have that time. I think it's important to work on that stuff in tight areas to help you differentiate yourself from like on a 5-on-5. But having the hockey IQ and having that intensity and work ethic, I think those are things that are unmatchable. Those are number one things that we look out in guys.
yeah, just like NHL playoff hockey. That's where the key
Pretty much,
players come out.
we have the template, we have the example in front of us. Like, this is what it takes to have proper players and have proper teams and having winning championships and stuff like that. This is what it's going to take. And good defense, because offense dries up real quick in the playoffs right
Yeah.
away.
Would they reach out to you? Like, what should they say in their email if they're reaching out to you or Mike Sinziani?
Yeah.
They put stats, should they put their prospect video? Like, what is something that really sticks out to you right away as a coach?
I honestly, I've been doing this more recently. Like, sending your EP or your hockey DB, that's great. I see your stats. So it gives me kind of like a template of like, okay, I know what you're able to produce offensively in this certain level, but it doesn't mean everything. And for me, it's okay, well, how does this player play maybe without the puck? And a lot of guys love to send the best side of them. I want to know your ugliest side of you, because if I'm able to accept and I'm okay with your ugly side, then the upside of whatever you bring that's good is just going to be super easy. Understand? Whereas if you're a one trick pony that's, just good in the ozone or just good on the power play, let's be honest, there's about maybe 2, 3 power plays per game on average. You better be effective there. And if we go 0 for 3 and you're not doing anything 5-on-5 afterwards, then where do you fit in this roster? That's where some guys are going to see that their ice time's been taken away. Sometimes you might even be a healthy scratch because, like, well, you're just not contributing, period. You know what I mean? So for me, I look at guys, it's like, show me how you are away from the puck and how you react in different situations, which is kind of hard for guys to build up like a video package highlight of that. But I've been asking guys mostly for that. I will look at someone's EP and hockey DB just to get like a feel out, like certain guys that produce at certain levels. I know how they'll translate more or less into Junior AAA, especially with us. But
Players out there watching that want to come to Montreal Rangers, what's your final pitch to them?
I'm not gonna force you to be a ranger. You have to be. If you are want to be willing to be a ranger, we will 100% take care of you. I don't think I'm not gonna put the gun to anybody's head. I think the individual willingness to want to be there is already 50% of the battle. It's like that saying: you can bring a horse to the water, you can't force it to drink. I want you to be already drinking that water. It's gonna help us work together as a player and staff. Um, Depends what you want to do for your career after junior hockey. If Europe or U Sports or NCAA is a route you want to go, well, we have the history of being able to place guys. So you could also be someone that will be taken care of. Obviously, just because you're playing for the Rangers doesn't guarantee you continuation of your hockey career. You still have to show up every day and work hard. But for me, it's having that player willing that wants to be a Ranger and not having for me to suck up for you to want to be a Ranger. Um, that's kind of like what we've changed a little bit in our recruiting, and it's helped a lot, man. Like, I'm being honest with you, our dressing room's been really great the last few years, um, because we brought in guys that wanted to be Rangers.
Oh, yeah. For sure. And thank you so much for your time today, and hope you the best of luck next season.
Thank you, Pete.